is Kara Ford, and today I will be presenting the portfolio project of the proposal and report. The part I had to concentrate on was cost, volume, profit analysis, and the budget. The first part I will talk about is the cost, volume, profit analysis, in which I had to complete 6 problems that were given from the directions and write a report based on the problems and the answers that were given. On the very first problem, I had to compute the contribution margin ratio, the break-even point in the balls, and degree of operating leverage. The contribution margin ratio equal to 44% for the contribution margin of $11. The break-even point in balls equaled up to $182,000. And the degree of operating leverage I came up to be 2.6 from dividing the contribution margin from the operating income. On problem number 2, I had to compute the contribution margin ratio again with the variable expenses decreasing by $2. And the answer that I came up with was 36%. And the break-even point in balls were 444,000 balls. And number 3, I had to compute the number of balls that were to be sold next year, in which you had to include the net operating income from last year, add the fixed expenses, which came up the total contribution earned of $557,000. With adding the contribution per unit, which gives you 9 subtracting 25 from 16. And the total number of balls that I came up with was 61,889,000 balls. And based on the first 3 problems that I have completed, the sales will have to increase by 11,253,000 balls in order to have the same net operating income as the previous year. The computation also shows that the variable expenses have increased from the previous year. On problem number 4, I had to maintain the same contribution ratio from the current year. And how I did that was kept the 44% as the contribution margin, in which I came up with the selling price of $29, subtracting the variable expenses, which was $13, and I came up with $13.45 in the new contribution margin. For number 5, to compute the new contribution margin ratio, of course the selling price was still $25, but this time the variable expenses were $10. So in subtracting that, I came up with $15 with 60% in the contribution margin ratio. Whereas the new breaking even point was I had came up with a total of 333,000 balls as my total. And lastly, for problem number 6, I had to write an income statement in which I came up with the income statement of $130,000, from which the sales was $1,250,000 minus the variable cost, which I took from the 50,000 balls times the $10, which I came up with $500,000. The contribution, which subtracted, came up with the contribution margin of $750,000 minus the fixed expense, which was $620,000 and $130 in net income. The degrees of operating leverage, which I came up with, was 5.77 from dividing $750,000 from the net income of $130,000. Based on the problems for 4 to 6, with number 4, the selling price was $29, so therefore it would have to increase to $33 to maintain the 44 and 45 contribution margin ratio. For problems number 5, the new break-even is greater than the first problem, which was $28,000, was over $28,000. However, if the variable cost does not rise next year, then the company will have to make a difficult decision. And lastly, problem number 6, the net operating income is lower than the current year than last year, which can be a greater concern. So overall, I have completed a budget in which I have came up for the new plant and the existing plant. The net incomes of for the new plant $236,000 and for the existing plant $297,650,000. And based on the budget, I feel that Northwood Company should keep operating on the existing plant, since they would be losing money if they open a new plant. Lastly, from the work capability that I feel that this project that helped was productivity, because you had to work a long time to get these problems and stuff done, such as computing the contribution margin ratio and the break even and so forth, and a long amount of time that these problems need to be done. And second work capability is problem solving, in which I had to figure out how to solve these problems. But also I had research that I had to do, so in order to solve these problems, by using textbooks, the internet, and so forth. Well, I hope you all enjoyed this presentation. Thank you.